Well, this one is a hard one. I would say the story of Loki, episode 4, was fairly weak, so I should give it a very severe 5 out of 10. But they did a lot in this episode to really pull up the score. The music, the directing, the style, the costumes, all were very strong. And it had a fairly good cliffhanger, although I think it's going to be fairly empty by next episode, but at least in the context of this episode, it was fairly well done. And some of the jokes where the MCU is very notorious for being very bad at, they had a few decent jokes. They stretched it out a little bit too much, but overall, nothing too awful. The plot itself and the main story, really, it could have been nullified or squeezed into the last episode. In fact, basically a character made one single decision which forced half this plot to happen, and you're like, okay, I get it, I get why she did it, but then what was the point of the decision? You nullified the decision so quickly, so it was a little frustrating. That said, there is a promise of a very intriguing place they will go to, but I'm very nervous that this whole series is basically advertising the Brie Larson film. Because Disney has done this before where it's like, okay, you have a good story, it's going somewhere, but then the conclusion is just an introduction to the next Marvel product. And that gets very disappointing and very frustrating very quickly. So I'm going to give this episode 7 out of 10. Fairly excellent, especially Loki. I think Loki does some things which are very intriguing, and when you think it through, show massive growth of his character. However, again, I can't help but deny that, yeah, the story itself was so paper thin that they didn't really do much with it. But again, certain key twists and moments were well executed.